Hello, my name is Taylor Dawson, and this is my 2023 Scott Foil RC Pro size small. I've made a number of modifications to this bike to get it down to a weight of 6.65 kilos. So I want to walk through those different parts of the bike with you today. Starting with the cockpit, these are the Synchros Creston IC SL Aero bars, 38 centimeter wide bar and 100 millimeter long stem. I have the Detta cork bar tape on here, which really lightens up off of a typical gel bar tape. For the wheels, I have the Synchros Capital SL Aero wheels. They're 60 millimeters deep, 1,290 grams for the wheel set. The front and rear are specifically different design that's optimized for an Aero setup, where the internal width of the front is 23 millimeters and the rear is 25 millimeters. And paired with that, the Schwalbe Pro 1 Aero, 28 millimeter width tubeless setup. The shape is optimized to have a more Aero front tire, and the rear has thicker tread for better puncture protection. My tire pressure is about 52 PSI in the front, 54 PSI in the rear. I find that to be kind of optimal for my weight in this setup. Perfect balance of grip as well as rolling resistance. The rotors on these wheels, they're Galfer rotors, center lock, with 160 millimeter in the front, 140 millimeter in the rear. This shaves off some additional weight over the typical Shimano Dura-Ace rotors. For the group set, this is the latest Shimano Dura-Ace 12-speed 9270 Di2 group set. The shifters are standard here, Shimano Dura-Ace. The cassette is a Shimano Dura-Ace 11-34 cassette. And then really where I've made the changes here is on the crankset. For the crankset, I have the THM Clavicula SC with the Carbon TI chain rings and a 5440 gearing. Really, it's the lightest setup you can get with a power meter. It's left side only, but it's in the spindle integrated. So it really drops the weight for this crank set. Overall, the crank weighs 330 grams, so it really shaves a lot of weight over the typical standard Shimano Dura-Ace crank set that comes on the bike. Paired to that, I have the Wahoo titanium pedals. For the gearing, I have a 5440 in the front, 1134 in the back, which I've really found to be the optimal setup for the type of riding that we typically do out here in Malibu. Gives you a big gear for the flats and the downhills, and then the 1134 in the back is more than enough gearing to get up the steepest of gradients. For the bottle cages, I have the Carbon Works cages that weigh 9 grams each, so significantly lighter than you can get for really any other carbon bottle cage, while still having adequate retention of the bottles. And also from Carbon Works, I have their bar plugs, which are hollowed out and brings the weight down to 1 gram for each of the bar plugs. For the seat post, this is the Synchros Duncan SL Aero. I opted for the one-piece version versus the stock setup, given we ride on pretty smooth roads here, and this is also a lighter setup. Mounted to that, I have the Burke Lupina saddle, which weighs in just under 100 grams, and I find that to be optimal balance between weight and comfort. And underneath the saddle here, you can see I have a Morimono saddlebag, which weighs just about 20 grams. So again, lightest setup that you can get for a saddlebag here for typical training rides that we're doing. Put about 5,500 miles on this bike for the last 5 months. Really from the first ride that I did on this. Honestly, it was the only time I've been really surprised by a bike and just how much faster it was going down local descents. I was noticing about 2 to 3 miles per hour faster while super tucking. So really the speed of this bike comes through is kind of the main thing that stood out to me. I found it to be kind of the perfect balance, given how light it is and how stiff it is, to be that bike that can get up the climbs just as fast as any other bike and then go faster down the hills than really any other bike that I've ridden.